a little bit about our next speaker that we have coming up here, Rich?
Absolutely. So our next speaker is, he's somebody who, and there are people out there have this similar, origin story, right? Where at least growing up, your parents were in real estate. Darren Hoefgen's parents had built, rental property. And that gave him an idea, and it kind of, he had some insight on what real estate investing was. And, he did the whole go to college and get his degree and get his W5, W5, 9 to 5, W2, combine those together, it's W5. He got his job, and it just wasn't that satisfaction he was looking for, right? And he actually house hacked. He's fixed and flipped and bought and sold, rental property and rehabs, everything over, hundreds of them. And the guy is an awesome speaker because he was actually a part of a national company that he had been a mentor and a coach on. And we are blessed here in the St. Louis area that Darren calls it his home. And, when I reached out to Darren, it's funny because it's kind of a lineage here because Darren actually has a connection with my mentor. So Darren was my mentor's mentor. So Darren's kind of like my grand mentor. No, Darren's my grandpa mentor. No, but no, just kidding. But Darren Hoefgen is as good as it gets. And we're so honored to have Darren on our speaker list. And he's so cool because he is going to be talking the BRRRR method. Darren Hoefgen, what's going on, my man?
How are you guys doing today? Appreciate having me here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for attending. There, your name has come up with more than one speaker today that's going to be at this event at the Gateway to Freedom. Everybody's got a story, it seems like, about Darren. And so I want to take a second, and why don't you share a little bit about what you're going to be talking about at the Gateway to Freedom event that's coming up on November 4th and 5th?
Yeah, absolutely. A little concerned that everybody has a Darren story. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but so I built my portfolio. I started doing the BRRRR method before that was a thing, before that became really popular. So I've been doing it in one form or another for probably close to a decade at this point. And what we'll talk about is kind of some of the things that I've learned, how we did at the beginning versus what works now. And when the market goes crazy in values and people want crazy numbers for their properties, how do you make BRRRR work, or is there a way to make it work? And then what happens when you start scaling? What are the big hurdles I had when I got kind of not really getting started, getting funding, not that big of a deal. And we'll talk about that. That's not what you really should be focused on freaking out about solving. The bigger challenge that I had to solve was what happens when you've got 6, 8, 10 of these things and you're ready to keep going. What happens when your local bank tells you you're too big for them and they don't want to do that? So we'll talk about strategies on how to deal with some of those issues, but we'll also talk about what's the difference on a BRRRR from a retail flip, and how do you make sure you put the right stuff in there? How do you position yourself to get the right appraisal value that you need so that you can get the money back out of it? All of these are challenges that I deal with on a regular basis and have do my best to solve as we go through each project. And each project is its own version of a train wreck. So you got to figure out which tools in your toolbox you need to pull out to solve them. We'll talk through it.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And we're so excited to have that. So that people can get to know you, Darren, a little bit better. What would those who are closest to you say are your greatest strengths when it comes to real estate?
Wow. I think couple of things. One is I tend to be really good at kind of stepping back and not getting sucked into whatever the one problem is, and looking at the bigger picture and being able to apply some solutions to something that maybe for a lot of people don't seem to be like readily apparent. And a lot of times what I find when I'm starting down that path, I start asking questions that people think I'm not even paying attention to what the real problem is, because I'm looking at what are the bigger pictures, and maybe this one issue we got right here, yeah, that's a problem, but how do we make sure we get past this and the next 5 things that are going to come up? So I tend to look at things in a really longer term, bigger picture type thing, and I'm less worried about um, the now. And if I pay a little bit more for one little thing right now, but that's what I need to solve the problem for the future. Those are the kind of things I look at. I think that a lot of people will say that I'm much more long term focused than a lot of other investors that they work with.
Long-term focus. Got it. Love it. Jenna had this to say about you. She said one of Darren's greatest strengths is getting people to see their abilities even when they can't see them themselves. Just like how he convinced me to make a bunch of offers when I was too scared.
Oh, she
So
loves to tell that story.
that's awesome. So
I've
Darren,
told that
go
story, and at the end of the story, she said he didn't tell me what to do when they all got accepted.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully we can learn a little bit about how to handle that at the Gateway to Freedom event coming up November 4th and 5th. Can you share with the audience a little bit about how changing your environment over your lifetime has accelerated your personal growth?
Um, yeah, so I think there's one of my mentors, and I'm sure it's not original to them, but one of my mentors, has said over and over again that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And when I was first starting this out, um, I was out of school, had finished a master's degree, was in my corporate America gig, and everybody I spent my time with, and I was in my late 20s, and everybody who I spent my time with was really all about working their 9 to 5, putting in their 40-ish hours, and punching out and partying all weekend, and then being pissed off on Sunday about having to go back to work on Monday morning. And that was the world I was living in. And when my mentor started telling me that I needed to basically upgrade my circle and get better friends, I started looking at who do I spend my time with, and that's actually not far from when I met Jenna, and not long after that I met Kevin, and have spent a lot of time with them, and it made a big difference in having people that are either performing at a level that you want to be at or above where you're at, or at least have dreams to focus on that, so that you get challenged a lot more. And, a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. And I probably wasn't when I first started either. But it was great to, in hindsight, it's great to have a network of people, of friends, of family, or whatever you need that will not eat into your bullshit. I mean, if you're a relatively smart individual, you can convince yourself and then everybody else around you whatever line of crap that you're trying to feed, which are typically excuses. And it is phenomenally powerful having somebody there that says, "Yeah, that's not true. You're wrong," and calling you out on it. And if nothing else, even if it wasn't an intentional thing that I've done, I've realized that it forced me to kind of step back and think, "Oh, yeah, that wasn't really honest, was it? That wasn't really what I wanted. That isn't really going to help me, achieve those goals. That's an excuse because whatever it is that I'm trying to deal with is hard, and we as just human beings a lot of times don't like hard. So it's much easier to take that easy path. And even today, I catch myself creating those excuses in my head, like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, or going out and finding something that makes me feel busy but not really productive, just because it's avoiding the hard thing that I really need to do. So having the people that surround yourself with that will call you out on that nonsense and keep you focused on what your goals are, and will actually talk with you about what your goals are, what their goals are. I think all of that is phenomenally important, and something that most people who don't have that entrepreneurial drive don't even know exists as a possibility. That there's somebody out there that will push you and support you.
That's such an awesome answer, Darren. I appreciate that. One of the things that I talk about with my audience oftentimes is strategy, different types of strategies, techniques, and tools. And as you look ahead in the next 6 months of your life, what primary area are you trying to put good strategies in place for so that your business can be successful?
It depends on, from the rental perspective, the portfolio, building the portfolio. Um, right now I'm in a pretty conservative space. I'm probably trying to hoard cash more than I have in the past. Um, I don't think, especially in my market here in St. Louis, that the market's going to drop or do anything crazy in the next, 6 months to 2 years. But you never know. It's an election year. Things are a little crazy when that happens. There are always cycles that happen around the election year. So trying to be aware and prepared for that. So really just being more conservative, kind of cleaning up some of the outlying things that I have on my plate of things that just take energy or resources, so that by first quarter of next year, or second quarter of next year, I'm ready to pounce on whatever the opportunity is if it shows up, but not being desperate, putting myself in a position so that I'm not desperate for that opportunity, so that I can again be smart about things. There's a lot of things that I've done in the past where early on in my career, when I was like, oh crap, my projects are finishing up. I got nothing else to do. I got nothing going. I got to go buy houses. I got to go buy. And I ended up buying things that in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have. And there's a couple things that we got out of the portfolio not long ago, that are things that I bought years ago that weren't good ideas when I bought them. Haven't been good ideas for the last few years. So, when the market was kind of up and the thing turned over, it's like, you know what? Now's probably an okay time just to unload this. Yeah, it hurts from I'm trying to build and not reduce, but let's just unload this and give me a chance to kind of reset and make a better decision on that money moving forward.
Fantastic. So that's Darren's strategy over the next couple of 6 months or so. Guys, what's your strategy? What's your real estate investment strategy? I would say in the next 6 months, one of the strategy tips and tools would be to show up at the Gateway to Freedom event that we have coming up on November 4th and November 5th. If you're going to be at that event, you get to be around people like Darren and learn all of the tools and techniques and tips and strategies that he has and that he's working on in his business. And if you're investing in St. Louis, you sure want to be there, because these are investors that are investing in St. Louis. So, Rich, what would you have to say to the audience about why they need to come listen to Darren at the Gateway to Freedom event?
I mean, nobody knows BRRRR better. I mean, Darren's probably like, "Oh, come on now," but no, nobody knows BRRRR better than Darren. I mean, he is phenomenal at doing it. He knows his stuff, and he's going to give it to you straight. He's not going to fluff anything. He's going to tell you exactly how it is. And that kind of expertise and that kind of insight is what you need if you're interested in doing the whole BRRRR strategy. So that's just in a nutshell. That's what I would say to people.
Awesome. We got a couple of questions that are coming in from the audience, if that's okay with you, Darren. I appreciate you doing the interview today and being available even in your car. That's what we talk about when adversity strikes. You just show up and keep doing the same things and going ahead. So the first question I have in here comes from, it looks like Michael. He said, what is BRRRR?
That's a great question. We probably should have prefaced that at the beginning. So the BRRRR method, that is, basically it's the rinse and repeat. It's for rental property. You buy it, you rehab it, you rent it, you refinance it, and you repeat it. So it's in the purest BRRRR method, there is a strategy and a way to make it work where you're able to do all of that, add a property to your portfolio with basically no money out of your pocket at the end of the deal. Those are, full transparency. Those are
full transparency. Those are amazing things that you're going to find out all about when you come to the Gateway to Freedom event coming up on November 4th and 5th that we have in St. Louis, Missouri here. Rich, why don't you tell a little bit more about the BRRRR method and what these people can be expecting to learn when they come to the Gateway to Freedom event in November?
Yeah, I mean, I think I know what Darren was going to say. I don't want to speak to him. If he dropped, if he gets back on, he can make sure everybody understands. But when he says, you can virtually get you can get some of those virtually no money out of your pocket. And he said, full transparency is that's not necessarily every deal you're not going to get like that. And no, but a great deal of them you can get them with virtually no money out of your pocket, where you can. It's great. Matter of fact, my very first rental was a BRRRR method that I actually bought owner financing, where the owner actually gave me the mortgage, and so there was zero money out of my pocket moving forward, and it was awesome. So, and matter of fact, she even covered the rehab costs. So, it's not about me though. It's about the method. Darren is going to be able to answer any question you have on the BRRRR method because he's the master. He knows what he's talking about, and that alone is worth your ticket price of $297 or $497. Or wait, we have a special coupon code right now. Nathan, if you use the next till 10 a.m. tomorrow, so it's not quite 24 hours right now, but for your viewers only, Nathan, we created a special coupon code, Nathan, where people can go to g2free.com. That's g2free.com. Put in the promo code Nathan at checkout, and they're going to get 50% off the ticket. There he is. He's back. The man is back.
All right, we got 4 minutes left with you, Darren, and so I'll ask you the same question I've been asking all of our speakers that are coming up for the Gateway to Freedom event November 4th and 5th. What does freedom mean to you?
For me, it means that I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. It's not, for me, it's not go and sit on the beach and do nothing. I can't imagine, that to me seems miserable. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. But for me, freedom is really all about being able to go and live the life I want and build and create the things that I want to create and the things that I am passionate about. And, whatever it is I'm passionate about now will, probably changes over time. And it's freedom gives me the opportunity to kind of evolve with that and not be stuck doing the same crap over and over.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Again, you guys will be able to catch Darren at the Gateway to Freedom event November 4th and 5th. Any final words that you want to share with the audience before we go here?
I look forward to it. I have been looking forward to teaching and speaking on this. I get to do it on a somewhat regular basis. So thank you guys for putting together a bigger audience, and we're going to have a lot of fun. I mean, one of the things I really enjoy about teaching and speaking is I've had an opportunity to learn how to do it in a way that is hopefully fun. And, from the front of the stage, it's fun for me, but if it's not fun for me, then it's not fun for you. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to probably be a little rowdy and obnoxious and have a good time. And that's going to help you kind of remember what it is that we're talking about, so you can take it home and apply it and, build your portfolio and build your dreams. So I look forward to it. Appreciate it.
From myself and Rich and Josh, we will have to say thank you, Darren, for being with us today. Totally appreciate it. If you guys didn't get value out of Darren's presentation, you don't have a pulse again. Like, that's incredible. Thank you very much, Darren.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Darren.